Why make a Kingdom Hearts OC in the first place, aside from player? To effect change within the story, to make something go the way you want it to without altering the behavior of the main characters too much. In my case, I had a few things in mind. Create a character to opposite Denamine in Castle Oblivion to accompany the basement trio, make a trio with Isa and Lee, this was before Subject X became a thing, and protect Ienzo's heart. I designed Sayuri to be a foil to Namine. She's there by choice, more or less, and instead of rewriting memories, she reads minds. I don't know what the Radiant Garden School uniform looks like, but she would also wear a white shirt and black skirt like a waitress or something, sort of the opposite of Sion's outfit. She's got dark brown hair and eyes in contrast to the blonde, blue-eyed Namine. Neither of them can fight, really. Sayuri can sing because this is Disney and everyone sings in theory by decree of Walt himself. She hums or sings to herself while cleaning. Her nobody named Mikage, which doesn't really get used all that much, comes from her screwing up trying to remember her last name, Kagemiya. But it's also mi, Spanish for my, plus Kage, Japanese for shadow. Apparently it's the name of a character in an anime I've never seen and don't remember the name of. I can't really think of a good anagram for her name plus X. While playing as Ven in Birth by Sleep, you have to fight the Unversed blocking Ienzo's path and are thanked by Evan. Evan then goes on to exposit that they had adopted a Ienzo because his parents are no longer around. I thought this was weird for a few reasons. Ven didn't need this information, nor did we as an audience really. It didn't end up going anywhere since it was never touched on again, minus Ienzo mentioning in a report that he still didn't remember his parents. We're lacking so much information that it raises more questions than it answers. It didn't help that Evan had lost track of Ienzo in the first place. Bringing it up at all makes it seem like he hadn't been with them for very long at that point, and Evan was using that as an excuse for his negligence. At that moment, my big sister instincts kicked in, and I vowed to make a character to protect Ienzo's emotional well-being. Sayuri goes to the castle to see if she can intern at their library when the Inverse show up. She witnesses the whole scene go down, and after Ven leaves, she talks to Evan about how Ienzo might be feeling since he doesn't ever say anything. Evan thinks she's being rude, but Ienzo goes up to her and squeezes her hand, refusing to come when Evan calls him. Evan's frustrated, but sees the opportunity to foist his child-minding duties onto someone else and invites her into the castle to talk about hiring her as Ienzo's babysitter. I put Sayuri into a trio with Lee and Isa. As I said before, I don't feel any sort of way about either of them in regards to her, but I write certain scenes differently depending on who she's going to end up with in either version of events. They do not like that Sayuri is babysitting Ienzo instead of A, being a librarian like she originally set out to do, or B, spending more time with them. This continues after they become nobodies. Initially, Xemnas wants Sayuri eliminated because her nobody power is reading minds, and the only reason she doesn't get turned into a Dusk is that it would be an unpopular decision with all the other organization members up to that point. Zigbar suggests she could still be useful as long as she stays away from Xemnas. Her nobody weapon is a broom, which is a nod to Demyx's joke weapon as she was almost number 9 before he was, but instead of fighting or flying around on it, she just gets to do chores alongside the Dusks. Because there are no Dusks in Castle Oblivion, that's the excuse they use to take her with them so she can help them with chores. As you can see, judging by the chore chart, Zexion sure as hell isn't going to be much help. Sykes, of course, is sending Axel there to kill everyone, so he's hesitant to let this happen at first. I wrote a scene where he and Sayuri are alone in the common room together until Axel and Roxas come to get their assignment from him. Then Zexion comes up to ask Sayuri for help with something. Sykes is watching Axel and Roxas leave in one direction, and Sayuri and Zexion leave in another, and he nearly has a breakdown, snapping his clipboard in half. By the time it's just Axel, Namine, Zexion, and Sayuri left at Castle Oblivion, Sayuri is understandably upset and wants the four of them to just leave together, abandoning the mission. Axel finally tells her that he and Sykes are still mad at her for spending more time with Zexion than them, which she apologizes for. She and Axel either couple up or they don't, depending on where the story is going. If they do couple up, they try to keep it a secret throughout Kingdom Hearts 2 because them being together would likely piss off Sykes more. But he's cool with it in the end and goes off to play Frisbee with the Keyblade wielders on Destiny Island at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. If they don't couple up, Lee has to convince Sykes to stop fighting in the Keyblade graveyard and go to her, but Sykes doesn't believe him at first. There's a sweet moment on Destiny Island when everyone is distracted and she goes up to him and holds his hand, as if to say, "I'm not going anywhere." In my version of events, Ienzo gets to go to Destiny Island too, having been invited by Pence. It takes reassurance from Ansem and the others, plus Sayuri practically dragging him onto the gummy ship for him to go through with it, though. Sayuri mostly spends time with Namine and Shion in addition to Lee and Aiza. Because Yenzo has made friends and his home life has improved, she feels more at peace not having to watch over him. I mentioned before that I write to cope, so I also wrote some stories of Sayuri dealing with my health issues. It has little to no bearing on the plot, more slice of life or whatever. There's one where she has a migraine while cleaning the downstairs bathroom at Castle Oblivion, and Zexion, Lexias, and Vexen have to deal with that. Zexion panics, Lexias takes charge, and Vexen has to learn that he has to treat people around him like people and not tools despite claiming he takes good care of his tools. He is also the type of person to get so wrapped up in his work that he forgets to take care of himself, so he would also have to learn not to antagonize the people who would take care of him if he got sick or something. There's also a scene where both Sayuri and Anzo tell him off for disappearing in Kingdom Hearts 3, having been worried about him despite everything. In the end, Evan is still Evan. He's still going to get agitated, but he takes a softer approach when handling people going forward. He probably just didn't get hugged enough as a kid. Like in the Rienzo video, if I feel like making another video with some interesting excerpts, I will. Otherwise, that's all I've got for today. Tune in next time for another Kingdom Hearts topic. Cheers!